What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're gonna be doing the match preview for Barcelona versus Bayern Munich in the freaking Champions League, man. The pressure is getting to me, and I'm not even a damn player on the pitch. We get clapped by Bayern Munich every single time in the Champions League. The question now is, will it be the same story, or will the streak finally come to an end? Only time will tell. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. Also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Kickoff time for this match will be taking place at 9 p.m. local time, so a regular kickoff time in the Champions League. And this match will be taking place at the Estadi Olímpic Lluís Stadium in Montjuic, which of course is the home of Barcelona on a temporary basis. And the referee for this match has been confirmed. It's the bloody twat from the Inter game 2 years ago. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I don't really care about his name, but he's the referee. Our record with him is pretty shite, and of course, in the last game, robbed us on a few decisions. So, strap your seatbelts. It's gonna be a wild game. Let's start off by taking a look at the UCL table. Where currently, right now, Barcelona are sat in 16th place. Of course, only 2 games have been played of 8, so it's kind of hard to judge. I think by the time we reach 4 games, we'll have a good idea of where the teams currently lies. We're currently in the round of 32 qualification spot, so we're not getting knocked out, but we're gonna have to play 2 extra games, which of course is pretty annoying when the schedule is already congested. Our opponents, Bayern Munich, are in 15th, so they're not too far away from us. They've won 1 and lost 1, same record as us. I believe Madrid had the same record. Arsenal had the same record. Only a few teams have actually gone out and won both games. You can see it's pretty much the top 7: Juventus, Villa, Liverpool, Leverkusen, Benfica, Brest, and Dortmund. Even City, I think they won 1 and drew 1. So it's very balanced. And I think the amount of games are kind of piling up on these big teams, so they can tend to perform at a high level week in, week out. But besides the point, nothing really separates Barcelona and Bayern Munich right now in the Champions League, apart from 2 goals. As you can see, that Bayern Munich 9-2 in their first game really helped them out with that +8. But from that, they're only 2 goal difference ahead of us. We of course had that 5-0 win against Young Boys, and then we scored, of course, 1 in that 2-1 loss to Monaco. Again, too early to tell where Barcelona will lie in this. Again, the objective is just to get in the top 8. I don't think where you finish determines who you play per se. I think it'll just be another draw completely, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we can just get over the line in that regards. But again, so far in the Champions League, off to an average start, which hopefully will traject into a top 8 finish. Let's now take a look at our opponents in FC Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are one of the biggest, if not top 5 biggest clubs in the history of football, the biggest club in Germany, and a well-established team in Europe. They have, I believe, 5 or 6 Champions Leagues, same as us, or 1 more than us. So, I mean, you're talking about a European giant here, and who we're facing now. The last time we faced them, we got clapped 3-0 at home. Knocked out of the Champions League in the group stages, in the group of death, alongside Inter. And who was the other team? Was it Victoria Pilsen? Something like that, but you can see it by the player ratings. We just got clapped. It's plain obvious. Our form going into that game was utter shite as well. And this is the time where apparently Laporta tried to call Luis Enrique to see if he wanted to come back as the Barcelona manager. Anyways, we got clapped in this game, but it's not just on this game alone. We get clapped by Bayern Munich week in, week out. Here are the last 5 times we played Bayern Munich. It's embarrassing. I have no other words about it. 5 games, 5 losses. The last time we beat them was in that 3-0 at the Camp Nou for the treble season, when Messi scored twice and Neymar scored once. And to be honest, we've lost to Bayern Munich in the last 6 games, because in that second leg, we lost 3-2 on paper, but of course we qualified for the final because we beat them 3-0 in the first leg. So we lost 3-2, then 8-2, 3-0, 3-0, 2-0, 3-0. We've not scored against Bayern Munich in our last 4 games. In our last 5 games, we've only scored 2. Anyways, Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga this season, they're currently top, same amount of points as RB Leipzig, same record, 7 games played, 5 wins, 2 draws, getting quite tight. If you look at first place all the way down to 5th place, only 3 points separating them, so it's been quite tight to start the Bundesliga season. They actually were in first place for some time now. They kind of regained that spot over the past weekend, so especially when you lose the league last season to Leverkusen, you're gonna go on and probably win the league this season after winning, what was it, 10 in a row, something like that. So no real surprise that they currently sit top of the Bundesliga. Now, if you take a look at Bayern Munich's last 6 matches in all competition, in their last match they beat Stuttgart 4-0, they drew 3-3 with Eintracht Frankfurt, they lost to Aston Villa 1-0, they drew 1-1 to Leverkusen, they beat Werder Bremen 5-0, and they beat Dinamo Zagreb, of course, in the Champions League 9-2. Well, let's take a look at their last 3 games in all competition. Firstly is the 1-0 loss to Aston Villa. Now, I believe I didn't watch this game, I watched the extended highlights. You could say it was a very, very tight game. It was Villa's first game in the Champions League at Villa Park in about 45,000 years or whatever it was. The occasion is, I think, what really beat Bayern Munich in this game. Bayern Munich's, of course, UCL group stage record is effing phenomenal. I think they won the last 50 or 60. They've undefeated in the last 50 or 60 games, something like that. And of course, Villa now broke that streak. Very, very even game. Bayern Munich had some very, very, very good chances in this game, which they couldn't convert. Harry Kane had quite an off day, but the likes of Gnabry, Coleman, Elise, I think even Joshua Kimmich had a couple of cracks from distance. They missed a few chances, and Villa, on the other hand, they had a few. Nothing. I think the Bayern Munich chances were bit greater and had a higher conversion rate than the Villa chances, but Thuram off the bench with a whirly, with a Neuer mistake coming out of his line too early, and they end up losing 1-0. You had a sense that once Villa got that first goal, Bayern Munich would see it very difficult to come back, especially with that goal coming in so late in the second half. To be fair, again, Bayern after that goal still had a few chances, but in the end it wasn't enough, and I believe it's their only loss of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So, not really a big blow for them, but more of a triumph for Aston Villa. Following this game, they had a Bundesliga match, but they drew 3-3 with Eintracht Frankfurt. Omar Mamouche, the forward of Frankfurt, is on an absolute worldie. I think he won the Player of the Month for the Bundesliga as well. Very, very tight game with a lot of goals, of course. We know that Eintracht Frankfurt against Bayern Munich, especially in their home stadium, tend to get a result since, they kind of had their resurgence a couple of years ago. But I think in this game, Bayern Munich played pretty well. The issue was they just leaked so many goals in this game. Their defense wasn't very sturdy, wasn't very solid, but their attack was very good. They scored chances. They dominated the midfield very well. And if you look at the goals that Frankfurt scored, they were basically like 1v1 through balls, like a simple ball over the top to beat their high line, beat the defense. Very easy finishes. Wasn't really, working their way through and, finishing like, Bayern Munich's goals against them. So I think it was more of a defensive, not a horse show, but a poor defensive display in key moments that cost Bayern Munich the 3 points in this game. But I still think they performed okay in this match. And their final match in all competition was their 4-0 win this past weekend to Stuttgart. I believe they played on the same day as Barcelona, which of course, no, they played on Saturday, we played on Sunday, so I guess, we didn't have to travel, they had to travel, so pick your poison. Harry Kane with a hat-trick. I tell you what, it's one of the worst hat-tricks I've seen in my life, about 3 tap-ins and a penalty or something like that. Like, it was a terrible hat-trick, but of course, you gotta be there to score the goals. Coleman's goal was quite decent. It was a dominant performance from Bayern Munich, especially with a team at Stuttgart's level who are pretty okay. Undev up front has been unbelievable for them this season as well. They're kind of a well-constructed team, and going out there, you think maybe they can cause an upset against Bayern Munich, but then Bayern Munich, show them who's boss pretty much. I don't think they played well per se, but they got the professional result, you could say, over the line. Again, Harry Kane's hat-trick, I think, is a bit overglazed to how good it was, but again, a hat-trick is a hat-trick at the end of the day. But a good performance from Bayern Munich ahead of course, the UCL match midweek. Now, on the screen right now is a lineup that I believe that Vincent Kompany will select for this match. Again, he will line up, I believe, in a 4-2-3-1 formation, as he has done this whole entire season, with Manuel Neuer in goal, a back four of Rafael Guerreiro, Upamecano, Kim Min-jae, and Alphonso Davies, a double pivot of Kimmich and João Pedri, with Thomas Muller in the 10, on the right being Olise, left Gnabry, up front Harry Kane. Now, the big question mark coming in this game is the fitness of Jamal Musiala, who's probably been Bayern Munich's best player over the course of the last year, definitely their most influential player. He's coming into this match with a bit of a knock. He's not played in the past few games. If he does play in this game, it is a massive risk by Vincent Kompany to risk his fitness per se. He hasn't played any minutes in quite some time now. He would be rushed back for this game. I believe he completed the full training session today, so for the first time, so it'll be a gamble from Kompany. I don't think he will do that gamble. I think he will pick Muller, just because Muller against Barcelona fucking cooks all the time. The other surprise will be João Palhinha coming in. Papalovic, their usual pivot alongside Kimmich, he dislocated his shoulder against Stuttgart, so he'll be out for about a month. So I think João Palhinha is the next in line to replace him. I think Leon Goretzka is quite down the pecking order for Bayern Munich. Apart from that, it's going to be the regular personnel. He might go with Koeman on the wings, but I doubt that. I think Olise has been great for them this season, and Gnabry has been very clinical for them as well. So apart from maybe a midfield change, I think that back five and that front three is pretty much secured. We could maybe see someone else for João Palhinha, someone else for Thomas Muller. That's pretty much it. He could maybe bring in Koeman for Muller and then push Olise in the 10 and then have Koeman out wide. We've seen him do that a few times, play the three wingers in behind Harry Kane. So stuff like that could change. Maybe barring two changes in this lineup, there could be something different, but I think this will be the lineup that Kompany will select for this match. So overall, final thoughts on Bayern Munich. They're of course a fantastic team, strong club. They're managed by your buddy Vincent Kompany, who got relegated with Burnley. They got the Bayern Munich job. He was about 7th in line in terms of manager, but he's done all right this season, especially for expectations and his kind of stature as a manager. He's not been piss poor. He's not been fantastic, but he's getting some good results. Some results would have kind of been crap, but still got over the line. And of course, the one loss against Aston Villa. I wouldn't say Kompany's a tactical genius. I think he really wants to get his set up at his starting position correctly, more so than his in-game tactical prowess. Now, in terms of players to look out for, I mean, the whole fucking team, but the only part that really scares me or worries me is Thomas Muller, mainly because he always turns up against Barcelona. That's pretty much it. I'm not worried about him as a player. I think he's a good player, of course, but against Barcelona, he just turns into fucking, prime Maradona for some sort of reason. A part of the other players are, of course, very strong. I would say this, though. Thomas Muller and Kim Min-jae are both going through divorces right now, so maybe it could mess with their minds mentally. So, I mean, watch out for that, I guess. That could be something that could come into effect in this game, but if we're being honest, they're a very, very good team. It's really hard to find a weak point in terms of, player structure. I think the only weak point that we can maybe exploit in this game is their inability to score, have high conversion rates against a very, very good side and a good defense. So hopefully we can kind of bounce on that. But again, it's a team that's very strong. It's a team that can make you suffer, and hopefully not this time, though. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team of Barcelona heading into this midweek match against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. First up, we have an update on Eric Garcia, who of course suffered a groin injury in the warm-up to the match on the weekend against Sevilla. Miguel from AS came out saying that Eric Garcia has an overload in his right abductor. He will miss the match against Bayern Munich, but is expected to return against Madrid. Tony Martin confirms this as well, saying that he will be missing the Bayern Munich game, but he should be back for Real Madrid. He, of course, did not train with Barcelona today. He also mentioned that Eric Garcia has been suffering from a groin injury in recent days. In fact, the plan was not for him to start in the game, but Frankie de Jong was going to start, but he had some discomfort as well. Flick was reluctant, so in the end, he played Eric Garcia, but then in the end, Eric Garcia and both Frankie were on the bench. So, bit of a knock for Eric Garcia, nothing too serious. He'll be back from Madrid, worst case scenario, back for Espanyol. Speaking on Frankie, we have also an update on him. Now, Hansi Flick came out post-match for Sevilla, speaking on Frankie de Jong's, fitness and injury, and he said that Frankie de Jong has no injury, it's just some little discomfort. The plan for him was to start, but he felt some discomfort on Friday. He was feeling a bit better on Saturday, but he wasn't fully ready to start, and he was an option off the bench. So basically saying he had a bit of a discomfort, didn't want to risk it for the biscuit, so we left him on the bench. And even when Eric Garcia got injured, it wasn't even a more of an incentive to start him. So fair enough to that. But of course, in the world of Barcelona, there's always the extra asterisk around when the manager speaks. Apparently, Frankie de Jong has been disciplined. I cannot be asked with this crap, man. Raccoon have come out saying that de Jong did not play against Sevilla due to only a physical problem. There was something else that happened as well. It is not necessarily disciplinary action, but something happened with Frankie de Jong behind the scenes that the coach did not like. Flick sent him a message yesterday by making him warm up the whole entire second half, and in the end, he didn't come on. Now, of course, that is true. He did warm up the whole entire second half and did not make an appearance. I don't know, man. First Kounde, now Frankie. I don't know what the hell is going on, but hopefully they can squash it soon. The report also mentions that, Hansi Flick's, Frankie de Jong is Hansi Flick's, one of his favorite players, and he does see him as a, starting player for this team, but he needs to, fix up a little bit, so I don't know. We'll see. This could all blow over. I mean, Kounde had some issues with Alaves and started the next game, so we'll wait and see what happens. We also have some other updates as well on injuries. Firstly, on Dani Olmo, of course, did not warm up, did not play against Sevilla on the weekend despite getting the medical green light. And David Bernabeu Sport came out saying that there's going to be zero risk with Dani Olmo. From the player's environment, there are certain fears of a relapse, so he has been advised to keep calm and careful when he returns to competition, and Flick does not want to risk him. At the moment, everything indicates that he will not start. Against Bayern Munich, he could have some minutes, but again, the club don't want to take any risks, and they are looking for that game in the Clasico, but again, that's also difficult for him to start. So with Dani Olmo, they don't want to risk a relapse. They're going to take this sweet time with him. Again, he is a very, 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 very injury-prone player, so it is what it is. We have, of course, the players to, I believe, combat that. Next injury update. Not another good one either. I mean, it was just nothing but negative news with these injury updates. It's on Ansu Fati. Now, TV3 have come out with a report, most specifically from Xavi Torres. He came out saying that Ansu Fati has a serious issue with his hamstring. He cannot fully extend it when he plays. It's not a topic about rhythm. He's explained this more than times. It's a very serious hamstring problem in the specific area that he has. His hamstring muscle was injured twice, and he didn't want to have any surgery on it. He cannot fully extend his leg and cannot control his efforts. For example, he can't make 50 quick starts at full speed. This is what any first-class striker wants to see, and that's why no coach, even De Zerbi with Brighton, would really trust him. So apparently with Ansu, he has a deeper lying issue. Again, he's fully fit, not injured, but there's a deeper lying issue to his hamstring, to the way he plays, especially as a bursting flair forward. So keep your eyes on that. We'll wait and see how things develop with that. I mean, I can kind of see that, and you kind of expect that after you have two huge injuries to your one hamstring on your, I believe, right leg, and you don't have surgery on it. So we will see. But some positive news to end off this injury section. It is on Andreas Christensen. According to Sport, his recovery process is going well, and he has now started to be doing some individual training. Now, if he's doing individual training now, I expect him to be back in about the next 2 weeks or so. So maybe, for Red Star, maybe against Sociedad, he could be in the squad list, get the green light before the international break. That would be nice. I think that's probably the main objective now for Christensen, just to be fit before the next international break. That way, post-international break, him and Araujo to come back, and we basically have the whole gang back together, apart from the two marks. So great to see Christensen coming back, and hopefully he is back as soon as possible, but more importantly, as healthy as possible. Time now to get into the press conference reaction of Raphinha. As we all know, in cup competitions, a player always comes to the manager in the press conference, and today Raphinha was selected. So let's get and see what Rafa had to say this morning ahead of the match in the presser. He started off by saying that coming to this match like this and reaching 100 matches will be special. We are working very hard. I celebrate after the match, and I hope with the victory. We are working to come away with 3 points, which is the most important thing for us. On his personal improvement, it's a bit mentally and also tactically. The comments that the manager and my teammates have given me is very important. After 3 years at the club, I'm always willing to learn, and the mentality in which I have started this season was a bit different. I know I had to adapt to other positions. Then asked on the Nico Williams news over the summer and if it affected him or not, also the rumors about him potentially leaving with all the Saudi bids that were apparently rumored. He said, most specifically on the Nico edit, if you don't know, there was a shirt on Instagram where it had Nico Williams Jr. on it with 11, which of course is Raphinha's number, and he of course replied to it during the summer to that post with a bunch of laughing emojis. And he said, people have to respect me, and for me it is disrespectful and a bad taste, and in the end seeing a photo like this did not make me feel good. Doing it better or not was a response for me personally. People do what they want, but it wasn't a special reason to start the season the way I did. I've always tried to do my best. Before I gave 200%, 100%, and now I give 200%. So he's a bit like, it's a bit disrespectful, which I understand, but lad, this is Football Club Barcelona. I've seen Neymar edits with him wearing the 10. Like, I've seen, Holland 9. You think Lewandowski is crying about that? It's like, I guess Nico Williams was kind of a close transfer, and I get it, but at the end of the day, it's Barcelona, so things like this always happen. I don't think it should be affecting a player this much, but if it does and it gives you more incentive to go out there and perform, then hey yo, it is what it is. Then as on being captain, saying that being captain is not about just being on the pitch, to help young people and the older people. I try to help them as much as I can. I'm always available. I'm very excited and happy to be able to be captain. I want to make history at this club like the other captains have done before me. He's then asked if he's going to learn Catalan. He said, yeah, we'll see. I mean, boring again for the people locally. That's very important, and I understand why they asked that question, but whatever. Then as on Lamine Yamal, we can learn a lot of things regardless of his age. He has already experienced a lot in football, and we live daily with younger and more experienced players, and we all learn from each other. On the next games, football is a sport in which we have to be prepared for all of these outcomes. I assure you that the group is working 100% to come out with the victory in this game and also the next as well. Being the next Brazilian legend at Barcelona. Now, when the journalist mentioned this, he said like Rivaldo, Romario, Ronaldinho. Thank God he didn't mention Neymar, but on being a legend for Barcelona, said, I don't like to compare myself with other players. I'm here to make my own story. You mentioned players who have inspired me a lot. You missed Neymar. Each one made their own story. I'm looking for mine. Fuck Neymar. I hope to be close to them and be remembered in the future. On the return of Gavi, he said he's a very effective guy. He's an incredible person, seeing everything that he's been going through since his injury, and it's quite sad to see Gavi playing with the shirt again. I'm very happy for him, but also worried because we know how Gavi performs in matches, so he's worried about a potential relapse there, but I think we'll be a-okay. He was also mentioned about the players coming back, saying that we're very happy to have, Olmo, Fermin, Gavi coming back, Araujo, and Christensen soon, but he said that it's going to be a bit of a headache now for the manager to pick a team, which of course he's right about. And finally, he was asked on the PSG game last season, which of course visibly he was very affected post-match, crying on the pitch and stuff like that, and he said, I left the game against PSG quite sad because I saw that we were close to reaching the final and being able to win it, but what happened, the result was a shame. New season and the objectives are renewed. Players playing for a club like this, you play to have in mind to win titles, as many as possible. Life is like that. In football, only one winner emerges, and you have to keep that in mind. By working hard, you will surely get to your goal. And that concluded Raphinha's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Bayern Munich tomorrow. Time now to get into Hansi Flick's press conference reaction. Of course, he spoke right after Raphinha. Let's get and see what the gaffer had to say this morning in the presser. Starts off by saying that we are ready for tomorrow's game. The game can be very different and many things can happen. They can evolve in different directions. This season we have done very well to focus on each game. Bayern are an excellent team and anyone wants to measure themselves against the best teams in the world. Then asked on Frankie Young's discomfort. He was not asked about the rumors about the disciplinary. He said, yes, our plan was for him to start on Sunday against Sevilla. He didn't feel very well. Expect for Eric Garcia. Everyone was ready, and I'm happy to have them available for tomorrow's game, he's mentioning. So no Eric Garcia, no Araujo and Christensen, of course, but everyone else is fully fit, ready to go. Then he's asked on the rumors of Atletico Madrid match at the end of the year being played in Miami, and he said, I'm a person who lives in the present. I don't know what decision will be made, and I'm focused on the match against Bayern Munich tomorrow. On facing Bayern Munich, as I've said, it's not about the passing of time. It's about how we got here. We can influence what happened in the past, and we can influence tomorrow's game, of course, and we want to try and win tomorrow's game. On the emotions coming into this game, we are prepared for each game, knowing our opponents very well. I played there, I've coached them. It's an excellent club, and I have many acquaintances and good relationships with the players and directors. There's a new chapter in my life. I have a very good feeling here, and I really feel like the fans are going to be supporting us. It's nice, and it forces you to give everything that you want to give for them, and we are well prepared for the game. And it's asked on the game plan. Now, this question came specifically from Alfredo Martinez from Onda Cero, and he asked specifically about the high line. We know against middle lower teams in La Liga you can get away with it, but it's our first time trying the high line against a top team. Will he stick with the high line? Will he adapt? Will he change? And he said, I think you're pretty much asking me a lot of things. If I say something, I'll give away my idea and how I want to approach the match. There are clear things that we have to do in this game. Not everything goes 100% perfectly, but we're trying to improve each match. Pressing will be important as well as defending when necessary. So dodging the question completely, but of course he's going to dodge the question completely. Then as on 8-2, he said that, as I said before, every day I feel the kindness of people here treating me, that they treat with me here. This has nothing to do with the past or the possible future. We work every day for the present. Each of the players have an incredible unity. I think La Masia had a lot of influence on how the players work. They all care about each other, and I think that's I think about the moment when Gavi came on, I got goosebumps. This is what I can say about Barcelona. He's asking about his feelings and stuff, clapping us 8-2 back in the day. Then as on Bayern style, saying that Bayern always have a dominant style of play, and this year too, they the way that they play, putting pressure on the opponent, they can impose their style on any team. It's always been like that, and that is their DNA. Then as on Casado, saying he's taken a step forward in recent months. He has performed very well in every game. I don't think he needs to be motivated himself anymore. He knows what he has to do, and I have to say that he does it very well. I'm preparing for different fixtures after tomorrow, so that each game is its own special demands in every game prepares differently. We must meet with the players, talk with them. It's not easy because there isn't much time between games, the day after day of recovery, but today there is already a lot of intensity in the training. And finally, he was asked on his time with Barcelona until now, basically saying that, look, it's private between my relationship with the city and the board directors and the fans, stuff like that, but as he already mentioned before, he's of course very happy for the time being. And that concluded Hansi Flick's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Bayern Munich tomorrow. Let's now get into the lineup prediction. We're going to start with the manager, of course, Hansi Flick. I'm going to try my best to predict his lineup. I think it actually will be very, very easy to predict, as I have gone with this lineup on the screen right now. I've gone with Iñaki Peña in goal, a back four of Kounde, Cubarsí, Inigo Martinez, and Alejandro Balde, a midfield three of Frenkie de Jong, Casado, and Pedri, and a front three of Lewandowski, and Raphinha. The big question mark is who will be the third midfielder. Iñaki, Jules, Pau, Inigo, Alejandro, Marc, Pedri, Lamine, Rafa, Lua, those 10 players guaranteed starters. Who will be the other midfielder between Frenkie de Jong, between Fermin Lopez, between Dani Olmo? Out of those three, one of them will start, and I believe he will go with Frenkie in the pivot and Pedri in the 10, which, to be honest, personally, not a fan of. We'll talk about that later on, but I think that's what he will go with. He wanted to go with it, of course, against Sevilla on Sunday. Didn't quite work out, so he had to adapt. The question is really, will Frenkie de Jong have strong discomfort? Will he still be disciplined? And if he doesn't, what will he do after that? Will he drop Pedri deeper and put Ansu in? Will he put Fermin in or Olmo? I think with Olmo now being fully fit, that option will be falling through, and I think that he will start Frenkie in the end. So that's going to be the big question of that third midfielder, who he will start between Frenkie, Fermin, and Olmo, and I believe he will go with Frenkie de Jong, and that's not the thing that Hansi Flick will select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think Hansi Flick will go with. Now I'm going to show you guys my lineup, what I would do if I was a Barcelona coach, and I have made a few changes from my lineup prediction for Hansi Flick. Firstly, brought in Szczesny because I'm just bitter, and the other change is that I would start with Fermin Lopez ahead of Frenkie de Jong in this game, and the main reason for that is keeping Pedri in the 8. For me, Pedri is just head and shoulders clear of everyone in the 8. In the 10, he's alright, but I just think he's so fluid, so influential in the 8. I don't want to take him out of there. I think Fermin Lopez tends to perform very well in these bigger games. We saw him, of course, last season against PSG, against Napoli, against Atletico Madrid. So I would back him. He, of course, played a good half an hour against Sevilla, maybe 25 minutes if I'm not mistaken. So I would maybe start him in this game. Maybe not play the full 90, but I would definitely give him the nod to go with. Also, I kind of want Raphinha to lead this team out, so if Frenkie does start, he will be leading the team out as the captain, so I think it's fair for Raphinha to lead the team out for this game as well. That's a very not influential part, but I think just a little bit of an added bonus in my opinion. Again, with Szczesny, I'm just bitter. If I'm being realistic, I wouldn't probably start him, but I'm just, my Iñaki Peña agenda is just through the roof. But this is a lineup that I would select personally for this match, but of course, in the comments down below, let me know if you'd rather pick my lineup or Flick's lineup. Time now for my score prediction. What do I believe the result will be in this match? You can see it on the screen. My official score prediction for this game is a 2-1 win for Bayern Munich. You're probably wondering, Barca boy, you negative twat, what the hell are you doing, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain myself. This team, against this opponent specifically, have let me down too many times. There is nothing that this team has done this season to instill me with any extra confidence. This is the perfect game to do that, of course. But I'm not backing this team. This team mindset for me is as frail as a toothpick holding a 100-pound dumbbell. It is just, I just don't trust it. And that's why I'm going with the Bayern 2-1 win. I think we will look better. I think maybe hopefully we'll get a goal this time. It's at home as well, so I don't expect us to get battered. But this team has done nothing this season to really show me mentally that they can compete at the highest level. And we get let down every year. I saw this meme on Twitter this morning of like, oh, the last time we played Bayern Munich, we won our 2 league games like 5-0 twice, then we lost to Bayern, and then in 2022 we did the same thing, then we lost to Bayern. The story is always the same. Until it changes, my mind won't change. I hope Barcelona win. I pray we win. I'll do everything to win this game. I will cut my brother's leg off if he told me that we'd win this game 5-0. I would do it. I'm praying for it. I don't want it more than anything else in this world. And like I mentioned a lot this week, this game will have huge implications on how Barcelona approach and how we go into the Clásico this Saturday as well. But this team has done nothing for me to change my mind. I've seen this team let me down too many times, so I'm going to predict it lets me down this time. That way, if I'm right, I'll look great, and if I'm wrong, I won't care because we have the win. So my official prediction is a 2-1 win for Bayern Munich. I'm also, by the way, very worried about this high line. Against top teams, it's just suicide. I still believe that to this day, so unless I can see a team perform with a high line against a top team and come out with a result, I'll change my mind. But that also is a big factor in this decision making for me as well. But my official prediction, of course, is a 2-1 win for Bayern Munich. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think the scoreline will be. So that was my match preview for Barcelona versus Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything that we did discuss. The main thing, firstly, of course, is your score prediction. And secondly, on those lineups, firstly, would you pick my lineup or Flick's lineup? What would you think Flick's going to go with? What would you go if you're the manager? Leave me all your thoughts down below. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the live watch along. Set the reminder on the screen and come and join me watching it with me. The last time I watched Bayern Munich 5 times, I did it all on stream. I was doing YouTube back then. The last 5 times we got clapped each time, so hopefully this time it can be different. Of course, follow straight after the match by my match reviews. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Huge game ahead that will define the mood of Barcelona fans for the rest of the season, and also probably the mentality and form of this Barcelona team as well for the rest of this year. I'll see you guys then. Take care and Forza Barca.